Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast somehow uglier than the Cubs' new Motorola patches. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host.
Hey, Nate.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. Hambone, this is it. This is the week. This is the week we come together.
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good. Good, I think. Fine.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Well, you look like shit, but
Really?
maybe in person it'll be better. If you don't remember, if you're new to the show, Ben and I have been competing sort of off and on over the summer, really.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
Ben has decided to enter the running game, the real running man.
Wow.
And he
The
challenged
dumbest way
me.
you could have said that. Yeah.
He challenged me, folks, to an in-person
Right.
5K race.
Yep.
Which is supposed to happen this Friday.
Yep.
We've had a little bit of a wrinkle. Ben was also supposed to be staying with me for the next couple days, but there's COVID in our house. It's back.
Yeah.
It's COVID summer. I've been spending a lot of time on the couch this week. Real JD
Old
Vance.
Natey in the doghouse.
So I'm not as properly rested, you know.
Oh, wow. The excuses are starting already. This is incredible.
No.
This is your sport too. You should be ripping and raring to go.
I've never been more confident about anything in my entire life.
I don't believe, actually.
I did want to make sure we establish a ground rule. No sticks with hot dogs hanging in front of your eyes. We don't do performance enhancing drugs here.
Wow, that's a PED
race.
to you.
For you.
Okay, that's good to know.
If you show up with a hot dog hanging on a stick, dangled in front of your face, I'm saying no, sir.
I was just going to leave one at the finish line so I had something to race towards.
Well, the problem is the starting line is also the finishing line. So,
well, there I will and I'm not trying to make any excuses, but I will call out the bullshit nature of Nate. This is Nate's home track. He invented this 5K race.
You challenged me.
It is something that I assume he's been running every other day or so. So he's gonna, I probably will be so far in front I'll make a wrong turn because I won't know the lay of the land as well as Nate, who's been, I'm sure walking the track, and studying and knows exactly when to push and to pull back and all that.
There's a Nate shaped path.
And we are not the same size, so it's not going to work for me.
Yeah, well, you got what? Probably 200 pounds on me, 300 pounds.
Sure.
But it happens this Friday, so we'll report back next week on.
I'm just happy that because honestly, my biggest worry anytime I come back to Missouri, my biggest worry is weather because I've become soft and weak and pliable living in this beautiful Colorado weather. But I'm happy to see that. Like, I think the high is supposed to be like in the high 70s, and
dude, it's gonna be beautiful.
The humidity, that'll get me a little bit. But the fact that I'm not going to melt, I'm like I said, I'm feeling pretty good.
No, it is like this is stupid to say, but it's such a fundamental difference doing a run like this between like 95 and 80% humidity and what it looks like we're gonna get this weekend. So
yeah, I mean, if the weather was going to be like that, I'd be like, you know what, the challenge is on, but I'm going to take a nice pace here. I am not killing myself in the Missouri heat for this, but it won't be. It'll be beautiful. Therefore, I will kill myself.
Well, whatever it takes for me to win, I suppose.
I mean, through the effort.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to really put it out there.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it is. We've got some friends participating in this as well, so it's going to be sort of our inaugural friend friend race, which I'm looking forward to. Then we're spending a weekend together at the lake. Ben and I acquired a 13-pound brisket.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yesterday that we're gonna prepare and smoke over a full day.
It's almost as big as you.
Yeah. I mean, carrying it around, they were confused. They were like, "Do I scan? Which meat am I scanning here?"
Oh my god.
Uh,
Okay.
I don't know. You set it up. I tried to knock it down.
Oh, you crushed it, bro. You crushed it. Don't let me take the win from your sales, my guy.
It went pretty poorly. But yeah, so that's what's happening this weekend. And for all of you that have been participating, I want to hear the betting line. Who you got? Me or you got Hambone here? Who's gonna win?
Yeah. I think obviously you are a much more accomplished runner. I've only been running for like a couple months, but I think just through pure confidence,
Spite,
stick-to-itiveness,
real bootstraps kind of guy.
I think I got it. I think I got it.
I'd say I'm reasonably confident.
You haven't even seen my shorts, dude.
God.
Once you see the shorts, you're gonna cower. You're gonna shrivel up.
Yeah, I have a tendency to react poorly to shorts. So, my doctor prescribed me shorts though, so I've become quite a shorts guy. Did I talk about that on the podcast?
Doctor prescribed you shorts. That is you. You deserve to be bullied so aggressively for saying that to me. No, I don't think you've talked. If you have talked about it, I've placed it outside of my mind because I wanted to forget it.
Well, let me remind you. I have like a man. This sucks. I have like a dry skin thing going on my knee, and I have for a long time.
God.
And my doctor, prescribed me some creams, and also she said sunlight helps this sort of thing.
Oh, and I mean those legs. I mean, what do they see sunlight like once a year? That is
no. And she said, "I suggest you wear shorts." So I've been making the joke for quite a while now that my doctor prescribed me shorts, and I left a pair of my shorts in a hotel in Budapest, or in Valencia, and so it was really quite the medical emergency. You know what I mean? I left my medicine in the hotel.
I'm gonna.
Ben looks so disappointed. Ben is so disappointed. But don't worry, I got a new prescription filled, and I got some more shorts. And I actually wear them I wear shorts a lot, but it's.
I mean, living in that city, I don't know how you don't. You have to rock shorts in the summer. There, it is.
Oh man, this summer it's been a shorts and tank top summer here in St. Louis.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I've been saying you can't spell tank topped without Nate. So, it's tank top summer.
Okay. Should we talk about the St. Louis Cardinals?
Yeah, this is
you got 5 more minutes of this? You want to keep going? I'll just sit back.
Yeah, I got a tight 5 on my shorts.
My God.
Shorts situation. But it has been a tank top summer. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about the Cardinals.
It has been a tank top summer. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the boys.
Should we just dive right in?
I think we should. What's holding us back at this point?
Definitely not comedy. So
that's what this is.
I don't know. The Cardinals are currently only.
Hey, talk about comedy. What about this offense? Am I right?
What about this whole team? What a this season. This is what essentially a 500 team looks like, right? As you get these peaks and valleys, right? And we had quite a valley for the first part of the season. We were peaking as the Cardinals had one of the easiest schedules in baseball, and now as we've re-entered into a phase of where the Cardinals don't have as easy of a schedule, and frankly, it's only getting harder from here. I think I saw a thing the other day that said the Cardinals have the 3rd hardest schedule going through the rest of the season. It's been volleying a bit, though not like some of the recent matchups have even been particularly good teams, but still, if the Cardinals are in a tricky spot right now. All things considered, 2 games over 500, which is nice. We're happy to be over 500.
Sure.
But 6 games back of the Central, and currently they are 3 games back from the third wild card spot, with the Mets in between them and the Braves.
Right.
So San Diego and Arizona are currently taking the other 2 wild card spots. So 3 games back from wild card, 6 back from the division, and an incredibly tough schedule. So I said it last week, we are in it. This is the playoff race. How are you feeling right now, Hambone?
I think I'm feeling okay because the Cardinals haven't been playing exceptionally well over the last week and a half or so, and they're still in second place in the division. And I think, it's going to be really, really, really hard to leapfrog San Diego. I'd put Atlanta, and even though their record, they're a little bit behind San Diego, I think Atlanta is just a far better team. So I really think it's the Cardinals versus the Mets, Arizona, and Milwaukee. I do still think that there's a chance that we could leapfrog Milwaukee and go for the division. And honestly, I think that would make me feel a lot better about the Cardinals' chances. It's just kind of fighting it out in the Central, keeping it in-house rather than having to go, fight these teams outside of that. I think far and away, the Padres and Atlanta are better than the Cardinals. I think the Mets and the Diamondbacks are just as good as the Cardinals, especially with their current health and production situations. But you look at those teams and it kind of deflates you because the Cardinals don't have a Francisco Lindor. The Cardinals don't have a Kettle Marte. There's just some star players out there that the Cardinals are really lacking, and I think that's what I'm really feeling at this time of year. Is with, let's face it, Goldie and Arenado. Arenado's playing a lot better baseball than he was, but his OPS is just over 700. Goldschmidt has been worse than he has, even though the results or the underlying stats are still looking good. I kind of think we're at the point where it's just not going to happen this year. I don't know what else to say. It's been this long. We're over 100 games into it, and he's still getting unlucky, even though his underlying stats look far better than Nolan Arenado. At least Arenado has the defense to buoy him. But I feel okay. I don't think that 6 games with this much baseball is totally insurmountable, especially when you look at the quality of the Brewers. I still don't buy. I still kind of think that they're playing above their skis. And they might just do that all the way. That it might just be that year for them, and it might just good for them. They just had a really nice year where everything came together. But with the loss of Christian Yelich, it's hard for me to see that offense hitting enough to make up for what I see as their less than stout pitching group.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals have 6 games left against the Brewers.
So that alone could wipe out the deficit.
Yeah, obviously you sweep them both series, that would go a long way to making that up. But realistically, best case outcome, you maybe gain a game or two, 3 games over them from those 6 games. Sweep one series, win the other one. But I don't know. I'm not the most confident in that, but we'll see. But it's an interesting question. What's harder, to make up 6 games against the Brewers or to win 3 more games than the Braves or the Mets over the next, the Braves and the Mets over the next 60 games or so?
And I really, just because of the quality of play in the Central, I think it's going for the division. If things work out, if those teams go off the rails, if San Diego looks like they're getting hotter, the Mets look like they're getting hotter, the Diamondbacks look like they're getting hotter. If those all stop and the Cardinals can leapfrog them, obviously I'm not going to question the way in which they get there. But I just think it's a weaker or an easier path forward in the Central. And that's how I'm feeling, today. We're recording on August 7th. That might be completely different 2 weeks from now if the Brewers just go Super Saiyan and leave us in the dust. That is entirely possible. But I also I guess the reason I say that is because Lars Nootbaar is a better hitter than he's been performing. Brendan Donovan has been super cold right now. Nolan Gorman can't be this, right?
I know. Yeah.
And we got Pham now, and Pham is the best hitter on the team easily. It's not even close. So I don't know. Having a real outfielder that's actually producing is a boon to the offense, which is huge.
It certainly is. Well, let's get into some of the specifics. Some of the news over the last week and some of the trending stories for this team. So, speaking of the outfield, probably one of the bigger negative things to happen over this last week is that Siani, the sudden revelation in center field for the St. Louis Cardinals, who had been hitting not with any power but with average and getting on base at a pretty stellar clip. You have here over the last month, he'd been hitting, sporting a 356, 420, nice. 378 slash line. You gotta love it when someone's OBP is higher than their slugging. But I mean, frankly, we all know, considering his defense, a 400 plus OBP is wild. We'd be like, if he was running a 340 OBP with his defense, we'd be calling him, a superstar. And a 420 OVP, obviously not sustainable,
right?
Blaze at 420, but it's pretty remarkable. So he's been one of the best players on the team.
Yeah, not to mention he's leads the team in stolen bases too. So it's the slug, he can kind of
make up for it a little bit.
Make up for it a little bit.
So Siani has been obviously super valuable. So it's a huge bummer to lose him. He's been like one of these like out of nowhere major bright spots of this season, right? And is part of the reason why the Cardinals are above 500. Now that said, we do get a little bit of excitement because of this. And that came in the form of close personal friend of the pod. Currently the only Major League Baseball player to have ever interacted with us on social media. So he's our best friend. Victor Scott too. Scott II has been called up and has already had an impact, hitting his Major League first home run, poking one into the bullpen, giving the Cardinals a 2-run lead in the first game against the Rays, a lead that they would hold on to. And this is a Pham and Victor Scott home runs, just like we drew it up coming into the season to win a game for the Cardinals. Now Scott has made a number of changes since we've last seen him in the majors. Do you want to talk a little bit about his swing change?
Yeah, it's funny. This was reported on, but apparently he's been working with Cardinals legend Ryan Ludwig, and essentially he's just changed his load. He's widened out his stance. He's added a leg kick, and that is paid off almost immediately. So far in the last 16 games in the minor leagues in AAA, he has put up an 823 OPS plus. Sorry, not an OPS plus. That would be
that'd be wild.
Otherworldly. That's can you even do that?
Better than that? No, I can't.
Do you hit a home run every time?
I guess if you hit a home run every single time, like what is Judge's current OPS plus, and then figure out
something. Yeah,
it's in the 200s. So, like more than double what Aaron Judge is doing right now, and you'd be getting kind of close to what this is stupid. 800 OPS,
823 OPS. Yeah. He's got 4 homers in the last 16 games. And I think the best part about this is he has 11 walks against 10 strikeouts over that same time period. He obviously comes up here. He takes over center field last night on the Tuesday night game, hits a home run off a lefty, a high and inside pitch off a lefty. He takes it out. Obviously, we've never seen him hit with that level of authority when he was up here his first round. I think it's easy to say that the adjustments are working. Obviously, we'll see what happens. The adjustments, that the league does back to him. But I will say, like, while their production doesn't come in the exact same shape, Siani, is a little more defense over everything, and Victor, I think, has the potential to steal all of the bases, play a pretty good defense, and maybe even hit a little bit, especially if the swing changes are real
Yeah.
and Major League Pitching doesn't immediately figure him out. The Cardinals he's a left-handed hitter. He's young. They're 1 year apart. It's a weirdly similar player
Yeah.
profile that you can just call up out of the minor leagues. And, you can wish cast a little bit. There is a non-zero chance that Victor Scott has made a real adjustment and is going to stick around, and this might be the launch pad. What that means for Siani's future, I don't know. I kind of think the biggest question is, how did the Cardinals deploy him? Does it make the most sense to go Tommy Pham, Lars Nootbaar in center, and Burley or Donovan at the other corner? Or do you move Newt to one of the corners and put Victor out there 4 or 5 times a week? I think it's largely going to be, does he continue to hit balls over the wall? Does he continue to get on base? But I think it's kind of exciting. And I don't know, being able to watch a player develop in front of us, in front of our eyes, is always kind of fun, especially, this team can be hard to watch sometimes. So getting away from
What?
that is really nice. I think I tweeted this week, this team is really easy to hate. And it was a little bit of an emotional tweet, but it's like, there's just something about this team that they just, on a dime, you're like, what are you guys doing? Where has it gone? Nolan Arenado, do you want to be here? What is happening?
Yeah, there's been some real difficult. Like Arenado has been playing better, but there's definitely been some real difficult to watch sort of lapses in focus, it would seem, and lack of energy at times, it would seem, from him. It manifested in a couple different ways, which is very, very shocking, because that dude has been like energetic, has been, a
Yes.
pretty core part of his whole thing for so long. He always felt like he had uh, you know, a he had like 1,000 hours of energy every single day, and he just could not. He was always fidgeting, twitching, always moving, and that reflected well on the baseball field. And now he just seems a little slower, a little less. But we're talking about Victor Scott, so
Yeah.
um,
Let's
uh,
keep it nice. Keep it fresh.
yeah, yeah. Man, it
Smile
is a
through the
tough.
pain.
It is a tough question. It's made more tough by the fact that like Newt and Donovan aren't really performing super well right now either.
Right.
So it kind of feels like, well, start Scott every day. He came out hot. He was coming into the season. He was kind of tagged as the future center fielder. It went
Yeah.
horribly, but he's back now with a new swing, and he got an early quick result. Like, let's ride the momentum and just have him start every day and see what happens. Best case, he's great and he helps lead us into the playoffs. I guess worst case is or I guess like best version of worst case is that he gets his Mason Wynn months out of him,
Right.
uh, thinking of last year, Wynn coming up and not being great, but setting the platform for future excellence at the major league level. And then just rotate Newt, Donovan, Burley,
Yeah.
Gorman, all through those positions and just ride the hot hand.
I'm of the opinion that the Cardinals need to be a little bit more aggressive with the hot hand right now. I think unless your name is Wilson, Alec, or Mason, um, you might not be starting that day. If they don't like the matchup, you should be
Yeah.
looking for somebody to get hot. I'm kind of at the point where Paul Goldschmidt has started almost every single game this year. I won't go negative. But I just think the Cardinals maybe need to lean into the hot hand a little bit more
Yeah.
and maybe try to find the hot hand a little bit more and try to maybe switch some things up, because this offense needs every little thing to go right for the Cardinals to win games, apparently. And I'm not sure that we're doing everything we can possibly do to make that happen right now.
Yeah, I agree. So we don't have the lineup yet for tonight, but I'm kind of hoping to see Scott there starting in center field and just
Scott and Pham have to be in there, right? I'll add Pham. Like, why not have him start? He is, it's only 8 games, but he's got 1100 OPS with the Cardinals right now, and I think ride it until the wheels fall off.
Yeah, you traded for him. You got him for 2 months. He's hitting well. What else are we gonna do? You know, what's the point? Moving on, Lance Lynn has right knee inflammation, so he's expected to be out until roughly mid-August. Not great because the rotation has been the biggest problem. But that being said, he's been part of the problem kind of with the rotation. He just really hasn't. He's been given innings, which is kind of that's the point, but they're not really good innings. So what is that? Do you really want that? People always say inning eater, inning eater. It's like, yeah, that also kind of assumes like relatively good innings, So I'm kind of hopeful that some time away can have him come back and be more effective. But it does add now another hole into the rotation. Obviously, Fedde coming in is huge. Palante is continuing to do what he does. But how are you feeling about Lynn being out?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can really complain about Lance Lynn, because he's kind of doing what we brought him in here to do. I think if there's anyone to complain about, I mean, here's what's to complain about is that Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, and Lance Lynn are not pitching fantastically. They're all old.
Yeah.
They're all providing a lot of low quality innings, and they're not really giving this somewhat lackluster offense enough support to stay in the game. So it's really hard for me to really be behind any of these players. I'll throw Palante in there too. I think that Palante has performed better than I thought that he would. But we just can't strike guys out. And it's extremely difficult to be successful when you can't strike guys out in Major League Baseball today.
Yeah. And I guess I should be a little more fair to Lance Lynn. He's thrown 106 innings with a 4.47 xFIP. So,
yeah,
that is more or less what we are expecting to get from him.
He is above average. He is. You could have a worse starter there. Same thing for Kyle Gibson. You could have a worse starter there. But when Sonny's kind of taken a step back. And like I said, Miles and Palante just not delivering. It really makes everybody kind of look worse. There's no really way around it. It makes the whole team just look. It's just not a very good baseball team, or it's not a very good staff, is I guess what it comes down to.
Kyle Gibson has been better than Lynn. I love it when these things line up. His ERA is 4.04 and his xFIP is 4.05 over 120 innings. Yeah. So he's throwing more innings than Lynn, and he has better results. But
his ERA is 4.04. Lance is 4.06. I mean, you could slice it however you want to, but they're the same guy. They both have an ERA plus of 1.04. They both have a strikeout per 9 of 8.2. They both have a walk per 9 of 3.5. What the hell? This is the same pitcher two times in a row.
All right. Yeah, that's fair.
They're doing the only thing that you could boon Gibson over Lynn is that he's given you almost 14 more innings, which is, over 21 starts. That's nice. But they are the same pitcher.
Yeah. How about Michael McGreevy though?
That I think that's a very interesting conversation to have. Why not more McGreevy? He looked fantastic. Why not more Graceffo?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
telling me that Graceffo and McGreevy are all that worse than Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, or Andre Palante? Because I'm not buying that argument after the two performances that we've seen from them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see if they just like roll with so Lynn down, Fedde in,
Yep.
and you just that's the 5-man. Palante is still in. It's the other guys. Or do they start to mix and match a little bit more with McGreevy and Graceffo, which you would think so, because that also kind of keeps one hand in the future also of, okay, we're next year we need a whole new rotation again.
God.
So it's not fully true. We have Gibson, we'll have we'll have player option
With
on
options
Gibson
on Gibson and Lynn.
and Lynn. We'll have Fedde and we'll have Gray. But still, you need.
Is this Miles last year under contract? I thought he had one more.
We might have Miles too
Yeah,
next
Miles is
year as
back
well.
next year. Don't
Miles is
worry.
back next year. Okay,
Just run it back,
oh
baby.
man, I started to sweat there. So don't worry, we could just go next year with this exact rotation. Don't worry, folks. It's all ready for next year. But I think you'd probably want to start having a better idea of what McGreevy and Graceffo could do. Yeah, especially after like McGreevy's excellent performance against the Rangers. Felt a little smoke and mirrors, but
Yeah.
hey, still 7 innings in your MLB debut. So
I mean, his profile is kind of smoke and mirrors. It's not like he comes up with the gas or the big
yeah,
strikeout stuff. It's ground balls, it's weak contact, and I came up and it worked.
yeah, and
And
the Rangers are good.
that's the same thing that Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, and Lance Lynn do. So I don't know. The kid had a better result than the other guys. So just
Keep
and
it going.
Palante. They all do the same thing except for Sonny Gray.
Yeah,
So why not? Why not try it out?
yeah. I guess we'll see. How did you feel about the Fedde start?
Obviously, it sucked. I hate
Yeah,
to see that for the guy. And he came out after, and when he was talking to Jimmy the Cat Hayes, said he was a little jacked for that start, a little too excited. You think about he came over from the KBO where he was otherworldly, gets signed by the White Sox, and I'm sure he knew as soon as he signed with them that team was going to be terrible. And then his first game traded is he's on a team that I'm sure he has a ton of respect for, it being the Cardinals, just because they have a good
it's
reputation around the
yeah,
league. And his first start is a Cardinals Cubs game in Wrigley. I'm sure the adrenaline was through the roof. I'm sure that he wanted to do everything he could to make a first impression. I'm sure he could barely feel his legs walking out to the mound. So, I'm not shocked that start didn't go his way. I will say when the stuff was around the zone, I thought it looked pretty good. I expected him to use his sweeper a little bit more. We didn't really get to see him like set it up
yeah,
and wipe people away with that pitch because it looked really nice. It had really good bend and it's like a little harder than Sonny Gray's. So I think I'm not going to worry too much about 5 innings against the Cubs in Wrigley
yeah,
first thing after the trade. This guy is. I'm confident that he will be the Cardinals' second best pitcher for the remainder of the year, and it seems very likely their second best pitcher next year too, unless a Tank Hens or Takoa Roby or a McGreevy or somebody takes a
yeah,
leap. So
yeah,
I'm fully buying stock in Eric Fedde.
yeah. I agree. I won't repeat everything you
But
just said, but I
it
thought he looked.
sucks to have your
Yeah,
first start go that way. I'm
it was
sure
a
he hated
bummer.
it. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a big bummer. And obviously that whole series was a bummer. And it started
Right.
off with that. And yeah, just didn't feel great, but it doesn't really change my opinion at all that the trade was one of the best of the trade deadline and something that the Cardinals will benefit from this year and next. Did you see that picture of who is it? Was it Miguel Vargas who just got traded to the
Oh,
White
poor
Sox?
guy. Yeah.
I know, like you forget about that. All these like, oh, it was a fire sale, but then all these guys who got traded from like good teams, like the Dodgers to the White Sox, he's
Well,
just sitting in the dugout, like just looking so sad.
I mean, you're going from the world class best organization in baseball, most money, best ran, player development, everything, to the burning tire fire of the Chicago White Sox. And it's
Yeah.
like the thing about the Chicago White Sox and how bad they are, it's like there's not a pipeline coming. They have a couple of players that could be interesting. That third baseman, Colson Montgomery, I think he could be
Hmm.
good. But their clubhouse is a mess. It seems like their manager might get fired. It seems like Chris Getz might even be on the hot seat, their GM or Pobo or whatever he is. Reinsdorf is clearly an idiot. That ballpark sucks. I was just there earlier this year. They just have nothing. Oh, you know what? They have
Yeah.
one thing going for them. That's the campfire milkshake. They have the campfire milkshake.
But wasn't it
But I
sold
bet,
out when you were there?
well, I don't want to, the wound is still open. I will never. Yeah, the guy came out of the bar and said, "We're sold out.
All right. Oh, he's
The
letting it
bar's
loose.
still open." Oh, so pissed about that. But
They also have Lewis Robert. But
yeah, but
back
like
on.
he's gone.
Yeah.
Crochet's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Like this team is nothing. They are. Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah.
Anyways, what about Sean Armstrong?
So far so good. I don't like it's you talk about smoke and mirrors. There's probably some of that going on, but I think his pitches look fine. The fastball's got more life on it than I expected, sitting at 95. But it's all about those breaking balls, and I think those breaking balls are going to work. I think like it. We said this when the trade happened. It's you don't love DC going for such little
Yeah.
value back and a guy that's going to be gone at the end of the season. But he's a reliever, and a change of scenery or a different words in his ear or different coaching or whatever could turn his whole career around, could turn the rest of his season around. And he had success in the past. Why
Yeah.
not for the Cardinals? So let's, just trying to be positive, and so far so good. Maybe this guy is an impact arm down the stretch.
Yeah. And they're going to need it, as all the discussion about the rotation, right? So speaking of bullpen help, we've got Riley O'Brien, hopefully, maybe
Hey,
coming back really soon, coming back from his right forearm strain. So that could be, yet another weapon coming out of the bullpen. I'm feeling
I
pretty
mean,
hopeful about him.
how are you not high on Riley O'Brien?
Highly O'Highland.
On that one dude.
Yeah,
Rob. Well, Rob, ROB, Rob.
sure.
I'm putting that out for a nickname for him. Rob.
Cool nickname.
Thanks. But he's got
Just a
all the stuff in
different
the
name.
world. What?
It's just another dude's name.
Well,
Rob.
that's why it's so. That's
Sure.
why it's so
It's
clever,
Rob
Nate.
now. Let's go.
It's Rob.
Let's
Thank you.
go, Rob.
Tweet at us if you like Rob or if it's
Uh-huh.
bad. Actually, if
Yeah.
it's bad, just don't. Just leave us a 5-star review and never listen again.
Call 911 Hambone.
91.1.
All right.
Is just trying to get our listeners to call 911
Yes.
on
911, what's your emergency? Hi, Rob's a good nickname for
Nate, can you focus for 1 second? I'm trying to say something here.
Okay, I'm dialed in.
All right. Rob is on a rehab assignment.
Okay.
Back to back. He's bouncing back well. We think he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He should be in the bullpen relatively soon. And hopefully we don't have to watch John King pitch anymore. The guy's got triple digis, bro.
I do love a triple digi, and your season long campaign against John King, is the fire is lit again.
Haters are going to say, Ben, he's got a 2.72 ERA. Ben, that's over 43 innings. His FIP is pretty good. Blah, 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 blah. I don't give a shit. Okay. I don't want to watch John King pitch anymore. I just don't think he's good. And guess what? He has those numbers now, but it only takes one. And when that one happens, grab your pitchforks, people. Get John King out of here.
All right, Ben's all fired up now. He's this. You can't tell from
I'm
the
slobbering.
recording.
I'm
Yeah.
fired up.
All right.
It's my new hat. Nate.
Well,
I'm all cardinaled up right now.
I see that. Yeah, you got like the sort of tough looking bird cardinal hat.
Tough looking bird.
Isn't he? You're kind of at an angle here.
Do you think birds are tough? There you go.
Yeah, I'm intimidated by birds.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's
It's
why I
an
started the
old
podcast to face my fear directly.
pretty cool. Okay. Anyways, excited for Rob to come back. There's
Uh-huh.
nothing else I want to add to that.
Steven Matz might be back
Yay.
mid to late August. So there's that rotation
Yeah.
help we've all been waiting for. I don't, we've talked about him so much this season,
Yeah.
despite the fact that he's barely been on the team. I don't think there's a lot to say right now. Just that he might be back at the middle end of the month, and we'll see what his role is. Um, they're saying he's ramping up to return as a starter, but I still believe that he's most likely going to end up in the bullpen.
I think if the Cardinals have him start a game and all of those 7, 8 starting pitchers that we listed earlier are healthy, then they're stupid. Ollie or Mo or whoever, it's just dumb. You just can't do it. You need the arm. I think that clearly the way to keep him healthy is out of the bullpen because it's really the only time he's been effective in a Cardinals uniform. Yeah, stick to that plan and hope for the best and plan for the worst because that's probably what's coming.
Yeah. All right. One last little bit of Cardinal discussion before we go to break and talk about the upcoming series and whatnot. Starting to see some rumblings of this. You've been calling for it a little bit too, with the struggles from both Arenado and Goldschmidt, and there's seemingly being a big fat opening in the Cardinals lineup, wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
And the slight heater that Jordan
Hey.
Walker's been going on in AAA. Is it time to bring him back?
So I've been trying to be disciplined about this conversation
Uh-huh.
because if I wasn't, I would just be saying it every single week.
Right.
Obviously the Cardinals had something that they wanted him to work on, swing changes a la Victor Scott, and that's not super easy. It doesn't happen overnight. But we have some momentum right now. Over the last 28 days, or let's be more specific. Over the last 18 games, because we had the All-Star break, he has a 790 OPS plus with 3 home runs.
You did it again. It's not a 790 OPS plus.
Oh my
It's
god,
a
a 790 OPS. I'm
yeah.
sorry, people. He has 7 home runs on the season. You remember how long he was stuck at 0.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's breaking out. Very recently, over the past 5 games, he has over 1,000 OPS plus. He is walking a little bit. He's still striking out.
You did it again.
Did I really?
He said over 1,000 OPS plus.
Oh my god. I'll just
He has
stop
over
talking.
he has over 1,000 OPS. So what I keep
Oh,
going back to is this thing that you and Kyle talked about the last time Kyle was on the show, is that basically this has to be the last time that you send Walker down to
sure.
the minors. If you're doing it again, then he's essentially a failed prospect and you're probably looking at other options, Um, so with that in mind, I've been pretty content to let him cook down in the minors. And he really hasn't done much down there either. It's been pretty
Right.
bleak if you're a Jordan Walker fan. And I've acquired 2 Jordan Walker bobbleheads this year because the Cardinals went way too all in on Jordan Walker before he was established. But anyway, um, like it's awesome to see these signs that over 1,000 OPS in the last 5 games, incredible. I think you got to let it go a little bit more in the minors. Let him do maybe not 1,000, but let him hit well for a couple weeks, and then call him up and say it's done. You're up here for the rest of the season, and hopefully just going forward. Because I would be worried for sticking with this sort of narrative of giving him time and letting him like really mature into that plate approach. I would be worried if they did something like, oh, he's had 5 great games after 3 months of being bad. But obviously, I'm like, nothing would make me happier than a Jordan Walker call up. But at this point, I think you gotta see those results for a little bit longer.
I think that is the reasonable stance. I think it makes the most sense. I do think you are kind of you're like weighing these different options. It's like the Cardinals' ability to make the playoffs might rely on Jordan Walker taking at bats away from your players who are not performing at all. But I think the smart money, the good decision, the disciplined decision is to let him develop as much as possible, get comfortable, be confident, and come into the big leagues and contribute, right away and have as little setbacks as possible. And I think that the Cardinals are probably actively weighing, that decision. He is the future. He should be the future. And you definitely don't want to discount that for immediate gains
Right.
while the Cardinals are trying to scramble and do everything they can to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I think what you said is the smart way to approach it. But I do think the Cardinals, obviously they're watching these at bats closer than we are.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very hopeful and pulling for and wanting this heater to lead to his ascension to the big leagues and hopefully just carry over and we can start getting, rocking and rolling and start the jaywalk party and enjoy it
Yeah.
over the next decade or so. And, but like I said, I agree with your stance. I just, the emotional,
Right.
side of my brain just wants him back up here, wants him with the boys. Um, and, hopefully doinking dongs.
Yeah. It does return it to a bit of a roster crunch again with all these like mediocre defending outfielders who you hope are going to hit really well. It part of me thinks like, is it could not that I get torn saying something like this, but it's like I think the ideal is we need like a Goldie needs a break. So
Yeah.
give Goldie like a 10-day IL stretch, have Jordan Walker come up and play first base and just be comfortable hitting and then just see where we go from there. But
Yeah.
a lot has to come together for something like that
Yeah,
to
and,
line up.
and Walker could play first. Maybe he's playing first next year. That doesn't seem like the craziest thing ever. Obviously, Burley could play first, and Walker could DH or play in the outfield. I'm also at the point where I think Brendan Donovan needs to be playing more second base over Nolan Gorman, and
Yeah.
I want Gormy to hit so bad. I think that he will. I am not. Out on Gorman by any means. Um, but it's
It's
not
been rough
working right
though.
now.
Yeah, it's been rough.
And, if I was managing the team, I would probably be sitting Gormy most days and looking for opportunities that particularly suit him to be successful and kind of just letting Donnie roll out there. He's a good second baseman. And his offensive profile, with his ability to walk and everything else that he brings, it's just a little more stable than the
Yeah.
142 strikeouts Gormy is rocking right now. Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
look at that number before I started talking. 142 strikeouts in 100 games. That is
It's a lot.
that's a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. Um, I want to save this conversation for next week, but there was a report that came out this week that the Cardinals are interested in extending Paul Goldschmidt. So that was
I'm
interesting.
not even
And
against it. I'm not even against it. But
I know. We'll sit on it for now, and maybe we'll come back next week and talk about it.
he's
All right.
90th percentile in hard hit percentage this year.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it's just continuous bad luck, but I don't know. His bat looks so slow. He's always had a slow swing, but it looks
Bat speed
but
is 61th percentile. He's like double Nolan Arenado.
yeah, that's fair. All right. We got to move on. Um we are on a little bit of a time crunch on this episode. So, um we want to talk about the upcoming series, some more league news and whatnot. But before we do, we want to remind everybody that this show is listener supported on patreon.com/talking about birds. If you want to support the show and its existence and the time and effort that we put in to bring it to you every week, we'd really appreciate it if you check out the Patreon. Subscribers at any level get access to our private Discord server called the Bird Scored. Tweet, tweet, baby. We're having a good
Tweet,
time in
tweet.
there. the Bird Scored Fantasy Baseball League is heading towards the playoffs. Ben has a 4-game lead on me for the last playoff spot. I'm the reigning champion, and I'm feeling particularly excited about my comeback. I'm taking that last spot from you, Hambone, and I'm going to
Shut the hell up.
I'm going to hold on to my crown. But if you want to participate in something like that, or just connect with us and other listeners outside of the show, check out the patreon.com/talking about birds. You can join patrons like Emerson, who just signed up. Thank you so much, Emerson. If you want to support the show in another way, you can leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps people find the show and for us to show up when people search for things like Cardinal Podcasts. And other than that, tell your friends. This is the season that you probably got a lot of friends that are not into baseball as much as you are, but they are baseball fans, and they're starting to plug in right now, starting to tune in, and tell them a little bit about us. We're here for playoff run listeners too, so bring them in. Ben, where can people find us?
We will take your bandwagon listeners for sure.
Yeah.
We are not too proud.
Nope. Ben, where can people find us elsewhere?
You can follow us on Twitter at Talk About Birds. You can follow us on Instagram at Talking About Birds. You can look at our stupid faces on TikTok. Come and check us out there. Like us, repost us, duet us, other TikTok things, TikTok us. You can listen to this show on Spotify if you prefer that. You can also listen to us on YouTube if you go that direction, which is totally fine and acceptable. You can email us questions, thoughts, concerns, anything at all to talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. You can find all of that information. Patreon. We have t-shirts. We have a t-shirt store. If you want to rep your local bird team t-shirt, you can check all of that information out at talkingaboutbirds.com. And finally, as always, you can call us and leave a voicemail or send us a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
848-48-BIRDS. All right. We have the other half of the I-70 series coming up this week. We've got 2 games against the Royals in KC. The 2 games against the Royals earlier went horribly. The Royals are a pretty good team. They are
better than the Cardinals. It's like not even really a conversation.
No, they have some real star power on that team now too. Bobby Witt, Vinny P. Pasquantino has been crushing the ball for about a month and a half now.
Pasquatch, baby.
Yep. They're a good team. Salvi somehow keeps doing it. I like Michael Garcia. He's been playing second and third for them. MJ Melendez can get behind one. Michael Massey, their second baseman, he's pretty good. Yeah. They're a pretty good team. Now they're pitching. They've got some high end up at top, but their rotation is not the deepest. Their bullpen is not the deepest. They're not a perfect team, but they're a pretty good team. I mean, they are in a playoff race right now.
They're a pretty good team. And you mentioned this, but Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans both having phenomenal seasons. I love watching Cole Reagans pitch. He's amazing. And, they made their bullpen, I think, quite better over the deadline, bringing in Lucas Ekrig. Ekskridge?
Erkig? I don't know. Never heard it out loud.
Yeah. He's really good. Either way, he's one of their closers right now. And Hunter Harvey came over from the Nationals, and he is lights out nasty. And that's to complement their old closer, James MacArthur. So the top end of their bullpen, really solid. Top end of their rotation, really solid. Paul DeYoung, be always good to see him. But yeah, good, tough team, athletic, fast. Good luck, Cardinals. It will not be easy. That is for sure.
Yeah. And then after that, it continues to be not easy because they go to Cincinnati for 3 games against the Reds. We've talked a lot about the Reds this year. Ellie he's a hot and cold type guy, and right now he could not be any hotter.
He is
So
amazing.
you would say just walk him, but that basically means a triple.
I
So
know.
you just gotta hope he has that high. He carries a pretty high strikeout rate,
Yeah.
and that's really your best shot of dealing with Ellie. Is you got to strike him out. Other than that, he's incredible.
If you had to vote today, is he your NL MVP?
I mean, that's a fun pick. It's probably Otani, who is like could almost win the quadruple crown this year if it wasn't for Ellie.
Yeah.
Otani is leading in everything except for stolen bases,
Yeah.
which Ellie is leading in by like 30 because it's Ellie. But will Ellie win probably multiple MVPs? It certainly feels that way right now. And I do know you can make an argument for Ellie because he's playing shortstop and doing
Yeah.
all of this. But the fact that Otani is uh, Otani has a legitimate chance to win the Triple Crown. He's leading in all of it right now. And I know that is like not everything, but that's
Yeah.
usually
If
history will tell you that's a pretty good resume for winning the MVP.
I agree, but what if Ellie goes 30-80?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
I
could
mean,
like that is not out of the question right now.
he has to get 10 home runs in the next, 2 months, which is very, very possible for him because he hits like 4 in a week and then,
Yeah.
won't, and then hits 6 in 3 games or whatever. So
And he can
I think
steal
if,
4 bags a night if he wants to.
yeah,
It's
80 stolen bases seems like that would be my low bet on him right
yeah.
now to
Yeah.
finish the season. Yeah, he's incredible. And then they got a lot of good players around him. Spencer Steer's having a great year. Noel Marte is back and starting to play
Yeah.
well. Um,
Yeah,
it,
a lot of solid players around them, but they're not playing all that well right now. A lot of
no,
cold players. India's gone cold. Steer's gone cold. TJ Friedel's gone cold. Jamer Candelario's gone cold. It might
well,
be
they're
pick up.
almost all like high strikeout, high impact
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
and that is a high variance play. And when your entire team is that way, sometimes you look incredible, but then also you're striking out 35% of the time, and those stack, and it's hard to get a rally going, and all those things,
yeah.
and so yeah, they're not a perfect team. I mean, there's a reason they are below the Cardinals in the standings, despite having Ellie, who the Cardinals don't even have anyone close to an Ellie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then their
Very, very.
starting pitching is also not great.
It is not, but I will say, and I'm not calling for this by any means, but then you have Hunter Green, who is
Right.
going to get
Cy
Cy
Young
Young
can,
votes.
yeah, yeah,
And is an incredible pitcher, and he's been hot as of recently. It
yes.
looks very likely that the Cardinals are going to draw Andrew Abbott, Hunter Green, and Carson Spears. So Andrew Abbott, not great, hasn't been great, but Green and Spears have been pretty solid. Green in particular, but he's fun to watch. The Cardinals, I feel like he hasn't really gotten great luck
No,
against the Cardinals, so maybe that'll continue.
the
Um,
Cardinals miss Lodolo, who is a
yeah,
left-handed pitcher who
thank
has,
God.
yeah. I feel like Lodolo would strike out 14 Cardinals. His only problem is health, and he's healthy right now. So when he's
Yeah.
healthy, he's really, really good. Um, so it's going to be that's a tough series in Cincinnati. The Reds always play up against the Cardinals. They play well at home. It's a bandbox. I'm expecting at least one of these games to be like a 9-7 sort of thing. Um, but they got to win these games. They got to win they need to win out the season. They need to win like every series.
Yeah.
Like they have such a tough schedule. The Reds series is considered one of their easier matchups of the next 2 months, and that's kind of terrifying. So, but they got to be able to beat the Reds if they have any hope of beating, the Mets or the Padres or the Braves or any of these other teams or the Brewers for that matter, to make the playoffs. So it's at least fun. I always love, just as a Cardinal fan, as a raw baseball fan, I love a series in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a time, we talked about their starting rotation has some high points in it. but their bullpen really sucks. And if the Cardinals can just get to that bullpen and put some numbers up and go over the wall, and it should be a really fun series. I'm feeling the same way you are. It's going to be just fine. We're going to like the way we look in Cincinnati. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. I love that.
Little product placement for no reason.
We're gonna be loving it. All right.
See, I can do Wentworth.
No,
877 cash now.
Okay. Let's run through some league news. What do you got for us?
Let's do it. Do you hear Jeffy is just yelling at me? I have my little cat.
No, I think it's it's not making it through the filter.
Okay, well, it's his birthday today, so he's trying to get on.
Happy birthday, Jeffy. This is, of course, Ben's 13-year-old son, who's just screaming in the background.
Meows like a kitty. All right, let's get into league news. The White Sox finally win a baseball game. They went 21 games in a row without a win. They go up against the hapless Oakland Athletics, who actually aren't even that bad. They've been playing a lot better than you would think. What I found very entertaining is that apparently the PA was playing Taylor Swift's song 22 over the loudspeakers before this game started. And obviously she curses everything that she touches. And I think that led to the White Sox finally breaking their streak. But, we already kind of shat on them earlier talking about the Fedde Fam trade on this episode. So I won't do it much more, but good for them. I saw this stat has been going around a bit. If they won every single game for the rest of the season, they would still be 10 games under 500.
Nice. That's good. I love a good PA song choice roast. You know, it's just a fun little thing. I wish that I could have that job of getting to choose what sort of bits get played to subtly roast something happening to the other team.
The best one I've seen recently this season, I was at a Rockies game and there was an issue on the pitching hole, the mound. So one of the pitchers had his heel had dug too big of a hole, and the opposing team's pitcher asked for the grounds crew to fix it. And as soon as the grounds crew ran out there, the PA started playing the Beatles song "Fixing a Hole So the Rain Gets In."
Good.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Brilliant. We're having a good time.
Yeah, really got me.
We don't need to talk about the White Sox anymore, but man, I was rooting for history.
Yeah. Hey, Nate.
Yeah.
More like the White Sox.
Got him.
You like that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to less funny news. MLB executive Billy Beane, former major league player and advocate for LGBTQ inclusion in MLB, dies at the age of 60. Openly gay player. He's gone around for many spring trainings to just kind of talk to these guys about, hey, if you're gay, that's fine. It's okay to be gay. And kind of, I think pushing that conversation that's probably really lacking inside of all sports locker rooms. But I think definitely a hero, definitely a pioneer, and unfortunate that he passed away so young. Obviously, it was in a fight for over a year, being sick, but happy to that he was able to do what he did in the time that he had, I suppose.
Yeah. Incredible person, incredible cause. I hope that people find inspiration from his story, and this is made better for the players in the future. And it's a bummer.
Yeah, I think we'll have an openly gay baseball player here some point relatively soon. At least I hope that happens. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
There's obviously been guys who,
have come out after.
Exactly. But I hope that we're close to that. It seems baffling.
Well, there's certainly many gay players right now. They're just, for whatever reason, we all know their reason, but their own personal choice, which you have to respect.
Couldn't blame them, honestly.
Yeah, no, you totally get it. But
totally get it.
That the people like Billy Beane are helping push and make it
You'd hope
better
so,
world. Yeah. So, I hope that, he was filling a really important role. And, I'm hopeful that someone can pick up his mantle and keep pushing the, this inclusion in sports. I agree. It's It's a problem everywhere. There have been little touches of it. In St. Louis here, we had it with what was his name, Michael
Michael
Sam.
Sam, yeah, Mizzou product, yeah,
which was I think which was a great story and an interesting one to follow. So it's happened, but we'd love to see it more in baseball, despite all of its flaws and its often being behind the times. It is also very famous for being ahead of the time in integration and whatnot. So I'd love to see baseball continue to be able to take that charge and just be a more inclusive environment.
Yeah. And yeah, I have nothing to add other than I love my gay brothers and sisters, and go be gay and play baseball. That would be fun for everyone, I think. All right, last piece of news I want to talk about is that MLB has announced that there is going to be a game in between the Atlanta Braves and Cincinnati Reds in 2025 at Bristol Motor Speedway, which is a NASCAR racetrack. And I will say I don't get it. I don't know why we're doing this. Um, make it
Sure.
make sense.
I think one of the benefits of baseball is there's 162 games.
Yeah.
And so, let's get a little weird with it. Why not? I kind of like what I'm hopeful for is this is the beginning of a new stage of just cramming baseball games into anywhere that we can. We've had some success with
Yeah.
famous ballparks that are not major league ballparks. They've been going into other countries and been playing in arenas that are not baseball stadiums. So why not in between a racetrack? I expect the purpose here is to that track, that state, that arena or whatever you call it, is frequently
Speedway.
full.
It's called a speedway, you idiot.
Speedway. Sorry, I'm not a Grimace or Pokemon car racer. I don't know the lingo as well as you do. The Speedway is often full of sports fans.
Yep.
And I expect that there'll be a fair number of Speedway diehards that will enjoy the novelty of seeing something completely different at their favorite Speedway venue. And the hope is to maybe convert some people from NASCAR fandom into baseball fandom. I don't think the point is to fill it with baseball fans who are just like, whoa, isn't this weird?
Wow.
And so I like this idea. Let's do baseball games.
Like this? This is good.
Why not?
Why not?
Why
there's
not?
So many there's so many other sites
everywhere
that have historical significance that have
Porque no los
meaning
everywhere. Do it everywhere. Let's do a baseball game on an aircraft carrier.
Okay.
Let's do a baseball game.
I will say, shut up, Nate. Stop talking. I will say one thing. They should do it in space.
Grand Central Station.
One thing I like about this is that obviously the track is oval shaped, which does not lend itself to baseball at all. So I'm hoping it goes full Polo Grounds, where there's a 550 foot center field and a 260 foot left and right
super
field.
Super narrow, just yeah.
So I hope maybe we'll get a really kooky game out of it, but yeah, I guess sure, whatever, it's fine. This seems to be completely nonsensical to me. I will say I had to look up the seating capacity while we're talking. It sits 150,000 people.
Nice.
I don't think baseball is going to draw that many people. Maybe they do. If that is true, that has to be record for the highest capacity baseball game of all time. So I guess maybe I'll be pulling for that.
Let's drain an Olympic pool and play a baseball game down in the pool.
Yeah, I don't think they're big enough, but that's a great idea. Let's
play a baseball game on a series of buses speeding down the highway.
All right, as long as Keanu Reeves is there on site, I'm down for that idea.
Of course, why not?
Okay. No, don't even attempt to grow a brain, John. Shout out Dennis Hopper.
I like it.
All right.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode. We're going to play a little game, one of our favorites, It's called League Choose.
Wow.
Choose.
All right. So Ben, I did one of my favorite weekly Googles of just a search for baseball food.
Okay.
And I got a recent article here on
Polar pasta?
from USA Today.
Okay.
Titled Best MLB Stadium Food, ranking the 8 top ballparks for eats in 2024.
All right.
I'm going to give you a handful of guesses here at what ballparks do you think have made the top 8 according to USA Today. Joe Mock, the writer here. What stadiums do you think are rocking the best MLB food this
Joe
year?
Mock sounds like a writer that it was created by AI.
Well, yeah, because his last name is a synonym for fake. I thought the same thing. Is this like, oh, Joe Fake wrote this?
Yeah.
And it might be. I don't know, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to guess I'm going to be mad about the results of this, which is why I was front loading it with, I'm sure this is AI generated. Okay, I'm going to go number 1 with a bullet. The Los Angeles Dodgers.
The Dodgers come in at number 3.
Wow. I know that they have like sushi and like all kinds of crazy food options. I've never been there, but heard that the food options there are dynamite.
Yeah, I might be going to the LA area next summer, so I've been thinking about trying to go to a game there or hitting as many sort of West Coast stadiums as possible.
I have only heard fantastic things about Dodger Stadium, the Art Deco and the size, and other than the location sucks, but the building and everything are supposed to be great from my anecdotal understanding.
Yep.
I'm going to go number 1 with a bullet. The Seattle Mariners.
You're working your way up. They have them as number 2.
Dang it. Okay. I really thought that was going to be number 1.
Yeah. And I was just reading. Yeah, they have a list of things here. Crab pizza. How do you feel about crab pizza?
I like a white pie. And I'm down for crab, clams. I like all those kinds of things. So I'm here for it.
Well, go to T-Mobile Park and you can grab yourself a crab pizza.
Well, I will. Thank you for the invitation to do so. Okay.
Maybe not a good hot day food, but I guess in Seattle, you're probably not having too many like hot days.
No, you're probably not. I like a white pizza. I know it's a lot of people don't.
I like a white pie. Yeah. What's that place near you? White Pie?
It's called White Pie. Yeah. Yeah. Connecticut style pizzas. We go there regularly. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It good. Benny like.
Wow.
Okay. I really thought one of those were going to be number 1. So now I'm fucked.
Number 1 with a bullet.
Texas Rangers, they have had some kooky food options. And massive like briefcase size nachos and stuff like that. I can see the Padres having good food. Let's see, Milwaukee, the sausages are probably to die for. Could it be one of the New York teams? Say what?
The sausages are to die for, and if you have enough of them.
Oh, it's a joke. Okay, I get it now.
Cheese curds.
We all liked that. Miami, there could be some Cuban fare there. Colorado does have the polar pasta, which is obviously a gold star item. I am going to go with the thing that I said at the beginning. Number 1 with a bullet, the Texas Rangers, please. Thank you very much.
Not on the list.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's messed up. Okay, then I guess I'll just work down the little list I had in my tiny noggin there. Let's go with the San Diego Padres. Number 1 with a bullet, please.
Petco Park coming in at number 6.
Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cannot be Cincinnati. Skyline chili is an abomination. People who eat that, they should go to hell when they die.
Apparently at Petco Park, you can get a great fish taco.
Yeah, they have, Mexican fare, Southern California fare. It just makes sense that would work that way, which, I said that out loud, and maybe I'm underrating the Angels. Maybe I should give the Angels a little credit. Let's go. Number 1 with a bullet. Los Angeles Angels.
Not on the list.
Damn it. Okay.
Swing and a miss.
All right.
One more miss and you're out.
Yeah. So my next thought was, Detroit is known for hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They weirdly, am I making this up? Does the Coney Island dog come from Detroit? I think that's a thing.
It does.
Boston, they got sausages. Baltimore, it could be a New York team. Wowie, wee, wow. Let's just say, because the price point and everything going on there, I'm going to go with the Yankees. Give me the Yankees, number one with a bullet. Nate,
you're oh, the Yankees are not on the list.
Wow.
Had you chosen the Mets, you would have had number 4.
Damn
Citi
it.
Field.
Who the hell is number 1?
Oracle Park, San Francisco.
No, yeah, I probably should have guessed that.
San Francisco is a bit of a food town.
I'd never heard, just in my days on this earth, walking around this crazy marble, I've never heard that said, but I guess.
Here's a line from the article.
00110011.
Yeah, the AI glitched and just wrote out machine code.
Yeah.
All right. You're probably not shocked to hear there are offerings called roast pea protein-based hot dogs with roasted red pepper, chutney, and arugula, or impossible cheesesteaks, but headed to center field for 2 standouts. So this writer obviously really likes the meat alternative options, which are good in San Francisco. And I can't believe you didn't know that Joe Mock. I guess we should be happy our robots don't want to eat meat, because that is like a key.
Yeah.
That's a key development in the eventual takeover.
Or it means that they could just move away from us very easily and get rid of us quickly. I have had a good vegan Philly cheesesteak before, which may surprise you, but there's a little spot in town.
I would imagine with the way they thinly slice it, it would make it more that would be more
like a slice of paper. Forget about it. So thin.
I do love a Philly cheesesteak. It's one of my favorite foods.
We should get some before the race on Friday.
Yeah, an 8 a.m. Philly cheesesteak. All right, I'm going to go down the list. Oracle Park, T-Mobile Park, Dodger Stadium, Citi Field, Lone Depot Park in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Petco Park in San Diego. Coors Field, number 7.
I personally disagree with that.
And number 8, Rogers Center, Toronto. Yeah. In the article, they call out that in 1989, when Rogers Center opened, it was like a big calling card, is that it had a full functioning McDonald's inside of it.
I mean, that is like fun.
A big deal.
Yeah.
And apparently they are opening up fine dining that is going to cater to season ticket holders, which I actually think makes a lot of sense. They need to find ways to get people in the ballpark again, and having that range. But anyway,
what happened to sucking down a glizzy with your boys?
you know, I'm never gonna forget that.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode. Hopefully if you've had a good food experience at a ballpark, let us know. Just in general, what's your favorite ballpark food right now? What's the best food you've had at a ballpark?
Shaq's Baked Chicken.
We'll be back next week. Playoff race is on. Hopefully this rotation can figure itself out. As always, feel free to reach out to us, 848-48-BIRDS. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. And until next week, go Cardinals.
Go me.
No, go me.
Talking out.